Hello and welcome to Tucson, Arizona. I'm Randy, joined today by Baby Shark. Daniel.
Do.
That's been stuck in my head.
Since I got it.
Yeah, and my kids were already grown by the time the song came along, so I didn't hear it till like my nephews were little.
Yeah.
and then seemed like that.
I remember hearing it when it went viral.
That's about the time I heard it. Like whenever it was everywhere.
I was already obsessed with sharks, so when it came out, I was a little devastated because
Yeah, it kind of ruined
it
it.
kind of ruined it. But
Yeah. Well, it's because we
but
both
it
like
brought
sharks,
attention
so I
to
get
him.
it.
Yeah, it brought attention to him.
Yeah, but then it ran it into the ground.
Yeah, it did. It's still popular though. The Baby Shark thing.
I know.
They have TV shows and movies and all
I've
kinds
seen
of stuff.
bits of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next Kids.
Hulu has Baby Shark.
Yeah, the little
TV
family
show,
of them.
yeah.
It was like a yellow shark.
There's a grandma shark and a
I've
mom
heard
shark.
the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big ass family of sharks.
Yes. Yes.
Right on, man. So you were gonna before we got going, you were talking about the Sunny podcast. I've
Oh,
never
yeah.
heard it.
So it's great. It's Rob McElhenney, Charlie Day, and Rob Harthrow.
Sounds right.
Harthrow. I think it's Harthrow. I might be saying that wrong, but they basically started from the beginning of the show, and they break down each episode, just like an insider view of it, and it's great.
So they,
it's
like, talk
full of-
about the bits?
They talk about the bits. They talk
Nice.
about filming it, extras. You get like a really really cool deep dive into each episode. But I've been following it since it started, and it's absolutely phenomenal. They're off season right now because they're filming, so they're not shooting the podcast. But it's been really
Oh,
good.
so they only run the podcast. So it's like after The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you ever watch that?
The Talking Dead.
Yeah, Talking Dead.
Yeah.
And then they did. It was like after. There was another one after Game of Thrones, but it was like way later in the show. Show had already been running for years.
I still haven't seen Game of Thrones.
It's so good,
outside
so
of the
good.
loop.
Well, the first like 4 seasons are awesome.
I've heard the books are really
The
good.
last 4, the books are hard.
Hard to
They're
read.
they're good. Like, the only way I can equate this is every friend of mine that ever did hard time always came back with a love of big books
Okay.
to kill their day, like
Yeah,
kill their weeks,
Kill time.
and that's a prison book.
Okay.
I've read the first one, the
Excuse me.
second one, and then like dabbled in the third, and was like, I am not doing this.
Okay.
And then I skipped ahead to like book, is it 5? It's been a while now because it was when I first got into the show. So I knew a few people were watching the show at the beginning because they had read the books, and I'd never heard of it. So this one girl at work, when I worked for Ford, was like talking about all the time. We talked nerd culture.
Yeah.
So she was telling me about this, and she was talking about the book. She's like, the show is amazing. I was like, I don't.
I've
have
seen like a
time for
few
that.
episodes here and there, and all of them were really
Dude,
interesting.
they're bangers, dude.
Okay.
They're like, it's actually so she tells me about it, and then the show came out on DVD.
HBO, right?
Yeah. So the first season came out, and she loaned me the first season,
Mhm.
and I devoured all 10 hours in a setting
Nice.
after I got home from work. So I came back like Monday. She loaned it to me Friday. Came back Monday, and I was like,
Finished it.
this is amazing, and was immediately hooked. So went out and like got the books, and the books and the show diverge pretty big in a lot of ways. I
Okay.
mean, the books are big.
Yeah.
There's a lot of story, and they have to cut something.
Is it like book per season?
For I think the first three seasons, it follows it pretty good.
Okay.
They cut a lot of characters out. They start cutting storyline out,
Yeah.
and then they start changing things. The last episode is free for all. The last book isn't even done. I don't think Martin's ever going to finish it.
No.
And he's catching a lot of heat from like the real fans, the dudes that are like hardcore that read all of them more
Yeah.
than once. Like, they love it. Like, I love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like,
Phenomenal.
yeah,
Phenomenal trilogy.
yeah, yeah. My
Best
personal
trilogy.
favorite, best
Yeah,
trilogy
same.
in my opinion.
Agreed. I've
Um,
seen it so many different
yeah.
times.
I've got like all of the different versions. The extended
Nice.
cuts.
The
once
extended
a
cuts
year.
are amazing.
Once a year. We
4.5
sit down
hours
and watch
a piece.
them. Yeah, it's the only way to kill a weekend, dude.
It is.
So they diverged hard. There's like storylines that I won't get into because you don't have like a frame of reference. But Really good. It's actually based on the War of the Roses, like a real thing in history.
Okay.
Like it's based on like this whole family rivalry that actually happened in, was it France? The internet will light me up for getting it wrong, but it's like the 1700s, I think.
Okay.
And like there was like Hatfields and McCoys, but long before the Americas.
Got you.
And that's what it's like loosely based on. And
Okay.
then with dragons, like there's a lot of infighting and like crazy conspiracies and stuff. The show's really good. The first season will hook you 4 minutes in.
Peter Dinklage is in it, right?
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah. That's the thing that like he was already known.
Yeah.
But that's the show that just
like skyrocketed him.
Yeah. Because now
he's in everything now.
Yeah. And now all he's known for is I drink and I know things.
Yeah.
Like you've never seen the show, and I'm sure you've seen that on shirts.
Yes.
Like and seen memes.
I drink and I know things. Yeah.
Yeah. That's his like claim to fame.
Is that his thing?
Yeah.
Nice.
His character is a hardcore alcoholic.
Is it Brad Williams is the comedian, the dwarf comedian?
Yeah.
He talks about Peter Dinklage a lot.
Yeah.
How he takes every role.
He does. Well, and what's funny about that, because I've met Brad. Brad's really cool. I met him like before Carlos Mencia was known as the Joke Thief.
Nice.
Like I met
That's
Carlos.
a long time ago.
Yeah, I met Joe Coy before he was anything.
He was
an opening act.
Nice.
Super nice guy. And Brad, they were both on tour with Carlos Mencia. And I went to Carlos. I saw him twice.
Nice.
And the second time wasn't near as good. And then, like 10 minutes later, Joe Rogan was lighting him on fire.
Nice.
And ended his career.
Yeah. Yeah, you haven't seen very much of him lately.
But Brad Williams, I hope he shits on him because Dinklage just screwed like the short person. I don't want to get that wrong. I don't know what they're like, but
yeah,
hopefully that's the phrase I can use.
Can't you just say midget or no?
No. No, I might get flagged for you saying that. But I mean, I still say it. But
I wanted to know.
Yeah, so he did an interview with Mark Maron, and it was like 2 years ago now, when they were talking about the new Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs movie, the live action that they still haven't released because Disney is a huge dumpster fire.
And doing a live action version?
It's not out yet.
Okay.
No, it's been in production hell for like 4 years.
I don't know if I'm gonna like it.
It's gonna be trash. The chick is not pretty, and Snow White's supposed to be the
gorgeous.
fairest of them all.
Yeah.
So he came out and did this interview with Mark Maron on the FML podcast.
Okay.
And he like roasted the fact that they're allowing like putting dwarves in films and like basically pulled the short ass ladder up behind him. Like he climbed all the way to the top and then it was like no more dwarves. And he's screwing so he didn't want them to hire dwarves.
This is Peter Dinklage?
This is Peter Dinklage, dude.
Wow.
It's still on the internet. You can still find it.
Okay. Definitely gonna look this up.
So yeah, he was like, no, they shouldn't put more dwarves in movies. Like that shouldn't be dwarves. It's typecasting. And like he just disparaged the entirety of that storyline, and basically made it to where Disney was so afraid by that.
Yeah.
They stopped with dwarves. It's still called like Snow White, but there's no dwarf title. And they released the next video they released of like a trailer was like 7 randomly different people. Like they all look different. It's very
diverse.
Very diverse.
Yeah.
And you're like, that was directly because of Peter Dinklage.
Wow.
And his power.
It's crazy the amount of power some people can have.
Yeah, dude. Like that guy's got some serious power.
Yeah.
For an elf, he's got a lot of power. Like dude's got the man in the red suit on his side. He's doing like this, going up chimneys and screwing people over for Peter Dinklage. But yeah, so Peter Dinklage, man, he's an interesting human. He's a great actor, but I'm not a fan of him as a person. Not that matters.
Yeah, I've never dove into him as a person.
My problem
I tend
is
to stay away from everybody other than like comedic actors.
That's smart, dude.
I dive into yeah.
I dive into everybody.
Because I don't like the whole like.
It's disappointing, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so disappointing. I recently, so just this week, so I'm a huge fan. Like, I was not until a few years ago a huge fan of Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
Like I get it. He's
like
the
him as an
pretty
actor.
boy and all that. Like
Between the Pines was a phenomenal film.
Oh no, he's a great actor. I'm not like shit talking him. I never thought he was terrible. I was never a huge
Fan. Gotcha.
Like I was like, oh yeah, dude's got good chops. Like,
Yeah.
and then I left it at that. And I think it was just because I was tired of every woman just going gaga over him
Gaga,
since
yeah.
The Notebook.
Yeah.
Like they're just, he's the perfect man.
Great movie. I took my
Amazing.
first girlfriend to go see that.
Dude, amazing movie.
Yeah.
Like top tier writing.
Yeah, I cried.
Like, oh dude, I cried hard. I cried real hard for like the last like 40 minutes.
Yeah, same.
Like once pieces started coming together,
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, I know how this is gonna end. I'm a movie guy. I know
Yeah.
where this is going. And then just waterfalls.
Yeah,
Like not just like man tears. Like just
Yeah.
like
just straight down.
oh,
straight
and
down.
get
Yeah.
choked out. Like I've bawled.
Yeah,
He's a great actor, but a couple like Driver, I was like, all right,
that was a good movie.
like, dude, what's up?
I like
and
how
then
dark
just-
it was, or how dark it got.
Yeah, it got real dark.
It got
but
real
it's
dark.
So good.
It is really good.
My
My brother was
but
obsessed with that movie.
He still is, dude.
Still is.
He's got the
He got
silk
me.
jacket.
He got me one.
I was there when he got
For
his.
Christmas, yeah.
We were in Texas when his showed up.
Nice.
So he wore it all weekend.
Yeah, he
with
got
the
me
big
one.
with the big gold
On
scorpion.
the back, yeah.
He even had the gloves.
Yeah.
But he drove a Beamer. This is when he had his BMW.
Yeah.
So we're up there. We're going out to lunch, and he's wearing that,
The jacket with the
the
gloves.
gloves, and like
Probably playing
like
the song.
cotton, like sweatpants, shorts,
Nice.
and Crocs.
Nice.
And I was like,
Very Andrew.
yeah, Ryan Gosling.
Very Andrew. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just described my brother in a nutshell.
Yeah, I
so
did.
quickly.
He
One
dre-
sentence.
Old man shorts.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
Old man shorts.
Old man shorts.
Um,
Every time I wear my my blue baby blue, the ones I got from you, baby blue ones with the orange sharks on them.
Yeah.
It makes you think of Andrew.
Oh,
every time
that's
I wear 'em,
that's
'cause
his
those are
wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so Ryan Gosling, like
There's gonna
I've
be lots of tangents.
slowly becoming like a big fan of his.
Okay.
And like it got to the point where a few years ago I was like, yeah, if he's in it, I'll watch it.
Okay.
Like the dude's awesome. And the Fall Guy. So
Fall Guy was cool.
I grew up watching the original show.
Okay. I saw you watching it.
Yeah.
I've seen a little bit of it. My grandma used to really like it.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. So Sheila watched it because of Majors, because he was
Yeah.
a dreamboat.
Yeah.
So I watched it and I went into it just kind of like hoping they didn't destroy it like Dukes of Hazzard, because I
Okay.
loved the original show. I have
You didn't
all
like the Johnny
seasons.
Knoxville one?
Hell no.
Ah.
But I love the original.
Okay.
I grew up on it. I
Yeah.
have every season
Okay.
on DVD. So, and I've had those for a long time.
Yeah.
So I just didn't like. It wasn't for me. So I was afraid they would do the same thing,
Mhm.
and immediately fell in love with the movie.
Yeah.
And Ryan Gosling as the character was like Colt Seavers, like,
Top
dude,
notch.
you
Yeah.
crushed it.
Yeah.
Like, and then, so like earlier this week, me and Daniel were in there watching, just flipping through, and saw that the extended cut is out.
Oh,
I
Fall
was
Guy?
like, yeah. I was
Nice.
like, well, I haven't seen the extended cut yet. I've watched the original one, like the release version, like 3 or 4 times now. So we watched that, and again, just laughed all the way through it. Loved every second of it. But now there's more unicorn in it than the original one. So I'm watching that, and we're dying laughing. So that ends, and so I click over on the menu, and then the next thing in line with it was a thing called Action. And I was like, oh, what's this? And I briefly read like 2 sentences of the descriptor. I was like, yep, perfect. And it's about stuntmen. So I was like, hell yeah. I love, like, I wish I could have
Been a stuntman.
found a way into that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a hard thing to get into.
Yeah.
Well, it starts off with, did you ever watch Violent Night?
No.
Oh, dude, it's so freaking good.
I feel like I've seen it on some streaming platform.
So Violent Night, you watched Stranger Things?
Yeah.
So David Harbour, the guy that plays Hopper,
Okay.
it plays Santa Claus.
Oh, I have seen Violent Night.
Yeah,
Okay,
where
yeah.
he like wrecks everyone in that mansion.
with the axe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've seen it.
So the first episode of Action is the stunt guys for that movie,
Oh, very cool.
like setting up, and it's giving you all the behind the scenes of how all the stunts were designed, the people who did them. Half of the bad guys in it. No, I think all of the main villains.
Mhm.
So like Peppermint. I'm trying to remember. They all had like Christmas like code names, but the girl was like was Candy Cane.
Okay.
So she was Candy Cane, and then I don't remember the other guys. All of those were stunt actors.
Okay.
Like they weren't even actors; they were stunt men.
people. Okay.
And the like the budget was so small that they just had them act as the roles too, because then you're not having to do a double for an actor.
Okay.
So they only had like the couple of like regular actors, David Harbour as Santa, and then
Okay.
John Leguizamo as the Grinch.
Yeah.
But all those other people were stunt guys.
Okay.
So this was all their first big break as
As
a
like an actor?
face,
Yeah.
yeah, not just as a
Stunt
second.
person, Yeah.
So they put this away. They go through all of that movie, and as they're doing that, you start meeting all these other people in stunts, and it turns out the guy that created Fall Guy, like the movie, and wrote it, directed it, like ran it, was a stuntman himself. He
Okay.
was Brad Pitt's stunt double for like ever.
Nice.
Like he was his boss on Bullet Train. He was I think the director of Bullet Train. Have you
Okay.
seen that?
Yeah.
Just so good.
A few times.
Yeah. So I guess in a press interview,
I just watched it the other day.
Dude, it's
actually.
so good. It's so good. Tangerine.
I've been doing a lot of watching.
Freaking Tangerine.
Tangerine. in
So
London.
and that's Kick-Ass's. So and Kick-Ass,
Which I
is
didn't
in Fall
realize
Guy.
until like my third watch through a Bullet Train because he's so
Yeah, Tyler
different,
Johnson, dude's awesome, man.
but he's amazing in that film.
Yeah, like he took a weird break for a long time, and now he's coming back, and he's awesome.
Yeah.
I loved him in Fall Guy too. Like he plays such a good, like weird asshole.
Yeah.
So they're going through, and the guy that's running all of this, that's the like director and I think he's the main producer too of Violent Night, is also running Fall Guy.
Okay.
So he wrote the entire thing. So he's heading that. So then they transition from all the Violent Night stuff behind the scenes, which is really cool. And then they go into Fall Guy, and they
Okay.
go over. They introduce every stuntman, and they you get to get their backstory.
Yeah.
You get to see some of their family members. You get to learn about them, where they're from. Like it's not just like, hey, here's a stunt guy doing a stunt, moving on.
Yeah.
Like you actually they show love. Like the whole thing is just about the guys,
Yeah.
the stunt guys. So they go through all the stunts. Well, what's really cool with this that you find out, because I didn't know this, it looked like it, but with movie magic, you can't tell.
Mhm.
That first stunt in Fall Guy where Ryan Gosling falls.
Falls.
Yeah, that's him.
Is that him doing
That's
that?
him doing that.
Nice.
That's not a stunt double.
That's cool.
So he went up
I was
there.
actually curious of who his stunt double was
He had like
in the movie.
6 of them.
Really?
Yeah. So there's the guy doing the roll. So when they do the roll, and when he gets back to the trailer, and the crazy producer is like 8.5 rolls, a new world record. That's not a lie. They set a world record doing 8.5 rolls for that.
For that film?
Yeah,
Nice.
that roll is a world record
Right.
world record stunt.
Nice.
At 8.5 rolls on flat beach.
Nice.
The last time that was set was by a James Bond movie where they did 6 rolls downhill. So they did it on flat
On
sand,
Flat sand, yeah.
8.5. So that was a real world record.
That's
and they
pretty cool.
said they were setting their sights on doing a world
Records.
record roll. They were like, when they wrote the script,
Okay.
like, this will be a world record. We want the world record. And they did it.
Gotcha.
And they did it on their last attempt.
Nice.
So that was even cooler. So that's one stunt double. I think he's the same stunt double that does the jump at the end.
Okay.
And the way he landed, he actually destroyed a big section of that spaceship he lands on.
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, it kind of sucks that got destroyed, but it works out because in the movie, they wreck the car and it rolls. So that accidentally landing coming up
Yeah.
short actually came out
Benefited the
perfect.
film, yeah.
So like this is really rad, dude, seeing all of the behind the scenes stuff. So he did the fall. He had the driver who did like the Challenger stuff at the restaurant.
Okay.
And then rolled the car and jumped the truck. And it was a 550 horsepower trophy truck.
Nice.
So that thing was rad. You get to see the guy that designed the truck, but they don't really go too big into it. So I don't know
Okay.
what motor or anything it had. It didn't sound like it was supercharged. It just sounded like it was motored, but they don't show that.
Yeah.
There's another guy that did the fall from the helicopter at
Yeah.
the end. His dad was a stuntman who did high falls.
Okay.
So that the pad that he actually lands on when he falls was his dad's pad that he had custom built back in the day. And his dad, when he was done using it, had it stored in a facility in Australia,
Oh, okay.
in like New South Wales, Australia. Well, then his son, now 35 years later, is the next guy who's doing high falls. And so that's a 150-foot drop that he does off of a platform,
Yeah.
no wires,
Wow.
and lands on that same pad
Yeah.
that was last used by his dad.
That's pretty crazy.
So after he does it, like
War with a pad.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I got choked up when it did this, but after he lands and everyone's happy and they're done filming the fall, they kind of fold back the pad, and his dad had signed on his last big jump, signed his name and like the jump he did and the date on the bottom of the pad. So then he had his son right next to it.
That's awesome.
His fall on the date, and then he's like, yeah, now the pad's going back into the same facility it's been stored in all these years.
That's pretty cool.
So I was like, that's pretty rad.
That's super rad.
The stunt driver, if I remember right, he's not a legacy stunt guy, but his wife's dad was a stunt guy for the films forever. Let's see. So the guy who does the fall, all the guys doing all the cars, the one guy doing all the car stuff. There was another guy who got set on fire and slammed into the wall all those times. And his dad was a most of their parents were high level stuntmen back in the day.
Okay.
So their legacy, like they're continuing the stuntman tradition. But the guy who's directing everything isn't.
Okay.
So he loves giving an opportunity to people whose parents weren't stuntmen. Like, hey, you worked your ass off to get where you're at. I want to give you a shot in movies.
Yeah.
Like if that's where you're headed and you're at my door looking for a job, I want to help you.
Okay.
So it's really cool that he's trying to help new people break into this because it's really hard to get into.
Okay.
So it was just really rad. Like I like seeing stuff like that.
What's it
like,
called again?
Action.
Action. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into
It
that.
was good.
I'll
It was
have to look
on
into that.
Peacock.
Peacock. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to look into
it was good.
It sounds really good. What would it be to be a stuntman on Death Wish? That would have been a cool one to be a stuntman on.
That would have been rad.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool. I was
It's
really
a Nova, right?
Hmm?
It's a Nova, right?
That sounds
The
right.
Death Wish car.
Oh, God, I haven't watched it since it came out. That sounds right.
Such a good movie. Because he's a stuntman in the film too, right? Like that's his.
Because
Gimmick?
he had two cars. He wrecked the Nova. I think it was a Nova he wrecked in the beginning, and he's got a Charger
After.
with the girls.
Okay.
So if I remember right, the first one that he wrecks into the broadcast girl, the radio girl,
Yeah.
and all of her friends. If I remember right, that was a Nova. It was like
Okay.
a '68 Nova
With the big skull and crossbones on the front of it.
Yeah. And then the one with the stunt girls, where they've got the Vanishing Point Challenger, if I remember right, he's in a Charger.
Okay.
I could be wrong. It's
a
been a few
while.
years.
Yeah,
it's been a few
since
years.
I've seen it.
But-
It popped into my head when we were talking about
Yeah,
stunt drivers.
like that one would have been rad.
Yeah.
But I think Kurt Russell just had the one stunt guy through
what
the
a
whole
stud
film.
too. Talking about good actors.
Oh, dude, that guy's my hero.
The Thing.
That guy, dude, John Carpenter's the thing. I was thinking about that the other day. 'Cause we're
Such a
watching-
good movie.
'cause we're-
That's one of my favorites with like animatronics and
Dude, that's
like actual like
special
props.
effects.
Yeah, and special effects.
all
and
the
stuff.
melting of things.
Super
like
cool.
I've watched, it wasn't long ago, like a month ago, I watched like a whole special about how they made. I think I've seen stuff before,
Okay.
but I found one. I'm trying to remember what it was called. Like a month ago, I think I found one that was all about how they made that.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Like it
I
was
would
like
definitely
it was
check
like an
that out.
hour and a half thing on just like, but it wasn't just the effects. It was also like a deep dive into the characters, like who is the Thing at the end.
Okay.
Like, how does this character work? How does this character
Yeah.
work? Like, where was this
Like a
character?
breakdown of the whole
Dude, it's
film.
a full breakdown.
That's
and it
cool.
was good. I just don't remember where the hell I saw it.
I would watch that.
It was probably a YouTuber that just, like, crushed it.
I watched The Thing like a year ago again and forgot how good
I watched
it
it
was.
this year.
Did you?
Yeah, I watched it again this year. That's one I watch. A bunch of his movies I watch every year. Like Big Trouble in Little Chinatown.
Good film.
Dude, like the Pork Chop Express. Like,
yeah.
the closest thing we've ever gotten to Raiden, like, because like I love Christopher Lambert, and the Mortal Kombat movies were fun when I was a kid and they came out,
They're still hard to
but
digest.
they don't age well, And
None of them do.
Big Trouble had the best version of Raiden we'll
Yeah.
ever see.
Yeah.
With that big ass hat.
Yeah.
And then the big puffer guy. Like, yeah. Overboard, that's one of my favorites, even though it's not like action and
Yeah.
scary or whatever. But The Thing is one of my top 10 favorite films.
Same.
Like, that's
It's up there in top 10.
It's all of the effort that went into making The Thing
Yeah.
and all the creatures. It's unrivaled. It's stuff we'll never see again.
No.
Like, we'll never see someone
Because
put that kind of effort
everything is
in.
CGI now. Everything.
Yeah, which
Everything's
is what I love
CGI.
about Fall Guy.
Yeah.
Like, not to take it back to that too far, but everything in there's a practical effect.
Yeah, exactly.
And John Carpenter,
Even the costumes and everything were all
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was something that was really overlooked in that film too, is like the amount of like cool costumes that people had.
Yeah. Well, that's what the fun thing about being able to make a movie in a movie.
Yeah.
Like, you can be as wild
As
as
crazy
you
as
want.
you want to be.
Like the guitar guns.
Yeah.
It's
Guitar
a
Guns makes me
flying.
think of Mad Max.
It's a flying V. Ah, dude, Mad Max. That's what came to my mind the first time I saw the Fall Guy, when they show the damn laser gun with a bayonet, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, it looks like a guitar. I'm like, yeah, it looks like a flying V. Like, I've owned one of those.
Yeah.
And that's what that looks like. And then that came to mind with seeing, what's his face? That's damn. I just blanked the guitarist name. That's the guitarist on that Mad Max truck.
I know that's he's a legit guitarist.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
I can't remember what band he's in, but he's a legit
I'm
guitarist.
trying to remember if that's Morello or not, but I don't think it is. But yeah, that's what came to mind.
Yeah.
Was like the Mad Max dumbass truck. I don't know, dude. I've
With all
got
the
so many
speakers on
weird
it.
problems with that movie. Like, it's
I
not
loved it.
it's not a Mad Max movie.
It's got the element of it, and I get like the new trajectory with it.
Mad Max is in it, but it's not a Mad Max movie.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, which is why they just spun off a show.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you see the second one yet? Furiosa Road
no.
or Furiosa?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They just spun that thing off. Like, I've heard a lot of good about it
Furiosa. I
from
liked it.
people who didn't like.
The first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I liked how it was the original director that did the
Yeah.
first three.
yeah, Mark Millar.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to make this back when Mel could still do it.
Yeah.
When he was still young enough to do it. And they just had setback after setback, like financially, or I think they had studio problems for a long time. Then they had financial problems. And it was just always something in the
Setbacks,
way.
Yeah.
And then it finally got to the point where he got the green light to do it. And by that point, he said that Mel was too old. It didn't need to, like, that's the beautiful thing about the Mad Max series is, other than the first one, there's no time frame. Like, you don't know when this
Yeah.
happened. You don't know if this happened
It's
before
just
that or after that.
post-apocalyptic, Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't, like, there's no timeline because he doesn't really talk.
Mhm.
Like, no one asks him questions. It doesn't matter. He could have had Thunderdome long before he did Road Warrior.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't matter. And so I'm like, well, you could have brought
Thunderdome is
him
phenomenal.
back. Yeah. Run Butter Town.
That needs to be our government. Just Thunderdome style. Just one man, two men enter, one man leave. The presidential election. That's how it goes.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Trump would win it then.
Well, if Trump isn't elected, we might be
Thunderdome.
Thunderdoming it in like 3 years.
I'm not mad at that.
Like,
We got the Suburban.
yeah, we got the Suburban and got 2A, so I think we're all right. I'm gonna have to hit the gym a whole lot more. I'm gonna have to walk 20 feet that way a whole lot more to get big enough to handle. Speaking of that, so the post-apocalyptic, since you said it, I just finished a book series called The Post-Apocalyptic Nomadic Warrior.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's the name of the first one. They're not all that, but so it's like a mix of Mad Max and let's see, what's the best, Monty Python probably.
Okay.
So I think that's actually something that someone wrote when they were doing a review on it. It's like a mix of Monty Python and Mad Max. So I found it, something about Comic-Con like kind of led me down the rabbit hole to find these books.
Okay.
And so it starts off with a guy showing up at a town 7 years after. It's pretty vague, but like bombs went off, like the world ended.
Okay.
So the main guy shows up at this town and he's like, "Hey, I'm here to help." And the dude like immediately doesn't like him. The like mayor of this small town and
Okay.
like just in the middle of nowhere, Texas, doesn't like him. And he's like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Oh, whatever you need help with." Like, he's like, what do you want?" He's like, "Oh, I want nothing. Like, I'm a post-apocalyptic nomadic warrior." And he
Mhm.
goes, "You're a what?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude. Like, I just travel and I go from town to town, and
Helping
whatever
out.
you need, I'm here to help." And he's like, "I don't have time for this, dude."
The last handyman you'll ever need.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
but not as dead as quick. Because the Irishman died quickly
He
in
died
that.
very quick. Jim Gaffigan too, which was amazing to see him play a role like that. So good.
So, yeah, greedy people, man. That was
That was a good pick.
That was fun.
That was a good pick.
That
I
was
didn't
fun.
expect it. I didn't
Neither did
expect
I.
it at all.
I saw Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
sold.
and by the way, his performance was outstanding.
He's
in
such a good actor.
that. So good.
Like he gets slept on a lot
I think
because
so,
of like his youthful like
Demeanor.
looks and the fact that he was like a child star.
Yeah,
Like people kind of sleep on how good
liked
an
him in
actor he
Looper.
is. Oh, dude, Looper was good.
Looper was really cool.
What I liked even more was what was it called? The Wire?
The TV show.
No.
Oh,
He did a movie.
I was like, I didn't.
Yeah, we're
remember
bouncing
him in
all over
Wire.
the place.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said that earlier. I was like, tangent galore. We're gonna be going back and forth.
we're gonna bounce all over. So there was a guy back in the day that did. I think it was like the 70s. That is that fake 1%er. So he was playing this Frenchman, and it's a real story that grew up in France and was a tightrope walker. And at some point
I've seen
came
clips of
here
this.
when they were building the Twin Towers
Gotcha.
and devised a plan to walk from tower
Illegally,
to tower.
right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he had like a whole team. Dude, it's like Ocean's 11 meets.
Seen clips of this. On
Yeah,
the internet.
Ocean's 11 meets nothing because there's no heist.
Is it an older film or is it pretty recent?
10 years, 8
Okay,
years,
okay.
like not super
So it's
old,
aged.
a little bit. But like they go through like the story of his life, like meeting his lady and meeting all of his friends,
Mhm.
to convincing all of his friends to go in with him on this crazy ass voyage to come here
Tightrope
from
across.
France, smuggle all their gear, figure out how to break into this building.
Yeah.
Because they hadn't even finished building the towers
Yeah.
yet. They were structurally finished, but like the whole top like 20 floors weren't finished.
Okay.
The elevator stopped like I think like 10 or 20 floors down.
Okay.
So they had to get all their crap. Like they had big pallets, like
Yeah.
big crates the size of this table that they had to smuggle into the building and then shoot an arrow with a small fishing line from one building to the next while one of their friends was on the other, like they were like half and half on each
Yeah.
building, and then slowly feed bigger
tightrope,
line
yeah.
to each other. So it was like fishing line to twine to small rope and then just rope
Yeah.
up to the steel cable.
Yeah.
And then walk it. And the cool thing is there's legit video from helicopters of him
Walking
on the
it.
rope.
That's awesome.
So it was really good, but that's Joe Gordon-Levitt.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, I've seen clips of it on
dude,
the internet.
killed it in that role.
Really?
Yeah, it's
I'll have to try to
so
find that
good.
movie and watch
It
it.
is. It's really good.
I've seen clips of it, and it's
Like-
always intrigued me. But I saw him recently, so I thought that it was a newer movie.
No, it's. I think it's like 2015 or 16.
Okay.
Really good.
Okay.
Really good. Like he's got acting chops like you wouldn't
Yeah, he
believe.
does.
But he's also like just like he never let any of it go to his head. And him and his brother are both like high level
Very
in the
humble.
industry. But they are very humble dudes. Like they had a TV show for a little while called Hit Record,
Okay.
and it was really good. It was like a live studio. I don't remember all the premise of it because it's been a while, but it was really fun.
Okay.
And it was like all about film, but I don't remember if it was about home film or I don't remember the premise, but it was good. And it just showed like how chill the guy is just as a human. Like
Okay.
he didn't let any of it go to his head. He's like, yeah, I've been doing this my whole life, but it's not I'm nobody. Like I'm just a guy. Yeah, he's if he's in it, I'll watch it.
Gotcha. Did you like him as Robin?
I would have liked him as Robin if he was Robin. He wasn't Robin.
I know.
Like
I asked that knowing the answer.
Yeah, no, I liked him in the movie.
He was great in the movie.
He was great in the movie. That Robin thing at the end was horseshit.
Horseshit. Yeah.
Like you don't
It was such a bad throwaway.
Dude, that whole movie has problems. Like Bane was very well done. He was awesome. People don't understand that he let himself go to become Bane.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, Bane's jacked." I'm like, no, he
He was
was
thick.
not
Yeah.
jacked. He even there's lots of interviews, you can find them all over YouTube, that he was like, "No, I just ate pizza and cakes and donuts. Like I just had to get bigger."
Yeah.
Like I was not working out. I wasn't in shape.
Yeah.
You want to see
He
that
was
guy in
just big.
shape. He's got other movies where he was in shape.
Yeah.
But
What's that actor again? Why can't I think of his name?
there's a fucking cricket somewhere. It's trying to,
Oh, I can hear it now.
Yeah.
Now that you said it.
dang it. I shouldn't have said it. All right. So, okay. What were you going to say?
Who's the actor that plays Bane? I can't think of his name.
Oh, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Thank you.
Tom Hardy's a killer, dude.
Yeah, he is.
I just
Legend?
watched.
Legend. So good.
Yeah.
Plays two characters.
Yeah, as the brothers.
McRae's.
Yeah, the McRae brothers. Oh, dude,
So good.
I'm not gay.
I'm a
Yeah.
homosexual. I like to twist men up like pretzels.
Yeah. I give, I don't take. Oh, what was that scene where they lock up the pub?
Yeah. What do you get when you put a schizophrenic in a bar? He just pulls out the ball peen hammer and smacks the dude with it. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
Him playing two roles, I didn't think
He crushed.
He crushed, and I thought it was gonna be tough, but he nailed it.
Dude, he's such a solid actor.
And he played the two characters so differently that it was
Yes.
it was almost like it was two different people.
Yeah, he did very well. He danced that
Mhm.
line very well. There was that, and then so I just watched Bike Riders.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it with you.
Yeah, it's good. But it's
I saw
also-
the ending.
It's also disappointing. So you saw the ending?
Yeah. Austin Butler, is that his name?
Yes. I like him.
I've seen him I saw him in the Elvis movie, which I thought
I
was
didn't
pretty
watch
good.
Elvis. I know he did good. Like I know
Mhm.
it was received very well. I didn't watch it.
I thought it was pretty good.
I'm not an Elvis guy,
Me
so it didn't
either.
matter.
Me either. I just watched it out of convenience. It was there, so I
Yes.
watched it. I thought it was pretty good.
He's been in a bunch of stuff though, and he's always done a really good job. I like him. I don't have any issues with him.
I can't recognize him in anything else. The only two movies that I've seen are Bike Riders
I'm trying to remember.
but I did catch the ending of Bike Riders.
He's
with
been in
you.
a bunch. So you saw what happened to Tom Hardy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very unfortunate.
So, did you ever watch? Oh, damn it! Now I'm gonna have to look him up because I can't remember the name
the
of this.
cricket stopped, by the way.
I know. I heard it. I was so relieved. I was so relieved when it stopped. I was like, thank God. We were just talking about this the other day too.
Yeah, we were.
And this is
What were we saying?
Lawless.
What's worse? Lawless is phenomenal.
But he
That's
dies
with
in that
Shia
one
LaBeouf,
too.
Yeah.
But he
And he gets his throat slit and
Yes.
doesn't die.
like
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, what the? Why do you keep picking these characters
them
that
off.
are awesome characters
Yeah.
and then get all?
I think he likes to be.
Hobbled.
I think he likes to be the guy that dies off. I think.
I
That's
guess
that's
so,
his
dude.
stick.
Inception.
Yeah,
he gets all
dies.
lit up in
Yeah.
Inception too.
Great movie too.
But he wins.
Jordan, the Gordon.
Joe Gordon.
Joe Gordon Levitt.
Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it's Levitt, not Levitz.
Levitt.
He died in The Revenant.
He died in The Revenant.
He
Another good movie.
He won in The Warrior
Okay.
with his brother, the UFC.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Such a good movie.
That is a good
Nick
movie.
Nolte is their dad.
That's with Christian Bale.
No, Christian Bale was the
fighter.
The fighter
The fighter.
with Maki Mack.
Mackie Mac.
Now The Warrior was with
Who was his brother?
another good actor, Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton.
Did you ever watch The Gift?
No.
Let's see, Dark Matter, The Gift, Warrior, Boy Erased, Loving. Wow, he's been in a lot of chick flicks. The Great Gatsby.
He's a stud. That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, he played the orc in Bright with Will Smith.
Did he really play the orc?
He was the orc.
No way.
He was the cop. That was Joel Edgerton.
Nuh-uh.
Zero Dark
That's
30.
crazy.
Oh, that's right. He was one of the dudes in The Thing the part 2.
Okay, yeah.
Since we were talking about the thing, look at that coming full circle on our tangents.
Coming full circle.
Um,
Tangents are going places, people.
Oh yeah, he was really good. Midnight Special. That movie was fantastic. And
I
that's
never saw
another.
Midnight Special.
That's another one with Michael Shannon, who played the crazy
I'm glad I got 2 waters.
Swedish dude or whatever in Bike Riders, whatever the hell he was. One that kept calling everyone pinkos. My brother's a pinko. But he was one of the bikers and Bike Riders. Smoking Aces, Taxi Driver. What was
Tom Hardy's in Smoking Aces? First one or second one?
First one.
Is he really?
Dude, I haven't watched the movie since it came out. I don't remember it.
I
know it was a
remember it.
big deal when it
Yeah,
came out.
was.
I couldn't tell you a thing. I
Second
watched
one
it
sucked.
once. Didn't watch it.
I didn't like it.
Like
It was just too far removed from the first one.
I think the
But
first
they filmed
one.
it just like the first one, like the same like noir style, like guerrilla warfare style filming, but it just didn't really hit its mark.
Yeah, because Aces was done by Joe Carnahan. Who the hell is Joe Carnahan? What else did he do? The Gray, the A-Team, Narc.
The A-Team with Rampage Jackson.
Yeah.
I didn't like that movie.
I wanted to love it, and I couldn't stand it. Because that's another show that I've
That you
got,
were a
like,
fan of.
all of them. Like,
Yeah.
I was hoping he'd do really well as B.A. Baracus, and I think he fell short.
Okay.
I think the dude that played Howling Mad Murdoch did a really good job.
That's the helicopter pilot, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but that was Shalty Shoplo. I can never say his freaking name when I want to. He's the Australian guy.
Yeah.
He was also in District 9.
Ozzy. Yeah.
And like
Great
Chappie. He was the bad guy in
Chappie.
Chappie. It's Shalto Copley.
Chappie's a great film.
Yeah, my boys were
Easy to watch more than once.
The boys were hooked on that
It's
when
a
it
good
came
film.
out. They loved the big chains and everything else. But yeah, if I remember right, yeah, he was the hitman in Elysium.
Oh yeah, he was.
Hardcore Henry. But yeah, that's
His character in Hardcore Henry was
Yeah,
cool.
he-
How he kept dying.
the first person.
Yeah.
Whole first person movie.
That was a cool film. I wish they would have done something more with it. I wish they
Mm-hmm.
would have done like a second one or done like a series. That would have been a really cool like
he's
TV series.
he's a big fan of like doing things that have never been done before.
okay.
Like District 9. It's like a guerrilla
Dystopian,
documentary
Yeah.
that like dude gets turned into an alien.
Yeah.
Like what? And at
It's a
the end he's sitting there building the thing.
It's a good movie.
Like, oh, it's a great movie. It's not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because like
It's based on a book, isn't it?
like could be.
I think it is.
Okay.
I might be wrong.
I believe you. Like, do you remember when The Purge was going to come out?
Yeah.
For like 3 months leading up to it, their commercials on the radio, and I remember I was remodeling a house up in North Scottsdale. This giant 5,000 square foot badass house on a golf course.
Okay.
So we had pretty much all the walls removed. So we had our our job radio, and we're just jamming out to tunes all day long.
Mm.
And like every 15 minutes, that like Amber Alert sound
The
would go
Purge,
off,
the
and then
Purge
the purge. So for like 3 months, that's all I heard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I cannot wait for this movie.
Yeah.
And then I watched the movie.
How disappointed were you?
It's not that I was disappointed because it was well done, and I love Ethan Hawke. Like
Yeah.
that dude's
He's
a
great.
killer.
Black Phone.
Dude, Black Phone was the best.
So
But
good. That's a Blumhouse film, isn't it?
could be. I believe you.
I love Blumhouse. Sorry, I'm a big Blumhouse fan.
I like A24. They're
A24 is
killing
amazing.
it.
Yeah,
They're
they are.
killing it. But like it wasn't what I thought it was
Okay.
going to be. And then the same thing with what the hell movies was I just talking about that led me to The Purge?
Sorry. I
Yeah,
got
whatever movie I
distracted.
was talking about, internet. The commercials were going. Oh, for District 9.
District 9.
The commercials were just like that. Like they had all these different like don't no aliens allowed and like all this crazy stuff
Yeah.
on the radio, and then you'd be on the internet and you'd see, and this was like pretty early on into YouTube. YouTube
Yeah.
was still small, but you had those commercials everywhere, and it
Mhm.
seemed like a keep aliens out. And I was like, dude, this is like aliens versus humans movie. Like this is gonna be sick. And then it wasn't that. So it was good. Like it was really well done. It was a very well made piece of film
Yeah.
and like really beautiful. And I liked the way they did it. but it's not what they were projecting it to be.
Gotcha.
I thought it was gonna be like this crazy ass like aliens film.
Yeah.
Like lots of action, lots of shooting, like lots of crazy warfare between insane aliens that just want to get off our planet.
Yeah.
Like I think it was a really cool concept that even though on the one hand it was a very well done art film,
Mm-hmm.
on the other hand it wasn't what they were trying to make it be.
Gotcha.
And The Purge was the same way. Like
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is good.
Concept
Like it's
was really cool.
psychological.
Yeah.
Seeing those dudes in that clear mask at your
Yeah,
door,
yeah.
like, and you got
Terrifying.
a random stranger hiding in your house.
Yeah.
I think, as far as crazy concepts like that go, Daybreakers was a much better film,
Daybreakers is awesome.
dude.
That's what Ethan Hawke too.
I love that movie, which is why I
That's a great
transitioned
one. Yeah,
into
no, that's a
that.
great one.
Like, he crushed in that,
He did.
and Willem Dafoe,
Oh, so
like,
good.
dude, crushes.
Crushes.
Like that was such a good movie.
Yeah.
But you were going to talk about. So what about Bloomhouse? What's your other Bloomhouse spot?
The Island was really cool. That one was really fun.
Yeah, with all the
with the really exaggerated deaths and everything. Yeah. I like the like poking fun at yourself like horror films. Like I like that. I don't
So,
know why. I've just always been
It's
a
like
fan
Evil
of it.
Dead,
Yeah, always been a fan of like
Evil
throwing
Dead.
a little bit of comedy.
Army
into
of
a horror
Darkness. Army of Darkness is probably my favorite in that
film. Who's
genre.
that actor? What's his name?
Campbell.
Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. He's great.
Dude,
He's great.
Hail to the King, baby.
Hail to the King. He's great.
The TV show. Did you ever watch the TV show?
Yeah.
Dude, so good.
So good.
Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
So freaking good.
Yeah.
And then when they brought in Lawless, I was like, oh my god, man.
Yeah, they did great.
Making my dreams come true.
Yeah, I've always loved horror films that don't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
I just,
That's Death
I
Day,
was-
dude. Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day was great.
God, that was so good.
That was
The
good.
second one, I still like I know
I didn't finish it. I got a little burnt out, but
it was
first one
good.
was really good.
Like
I remember seeing it when it came out, but it didn't.
I never did.
stick.
I never watched it. Like I thought it was gonna be like an It Follows or like some like
Okay.
really serious like scary
Horror film. Yeah,
Because I didn't watch any trailers or anything. I just kept seeing that logo
yeah,
with the freaking cake
Yeah.
and the mask.
And
I'm like
the
a
baby
baby
mask.
mask. Like,
Yeah.
dude, what the hell? But
And
I
that's
do,
the school mascot.
dude. I love that someone at some point goes, "Who the hell decided a creepy baby would be our mascot?" Like,
Yeah.
I love that they mentioned that.
Make fun
Dude,
of themselves.
That's
yeah.
why Scream. Scream is my favorite.
great.
Like, sit down and
Slasher film.
enjoy slasher series because
That's fair.
it's exactly that. It's
Yeah.
enjoyable. It's got funny beats.
It makes fun of itself.
It's got a lot of good jump scares,
yeah,
but it's not over the top. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or
Yeah.
Hills Have Eyes kind of
Yeah.
stuff. It's like,
great films though.
yeah, in their own right.
Yeah,
But I would rather sit down, and I do this like once every couple of years.
Mhm.
I definitely do it every time a new one comes out, but sit down and do an entire like holiday weekend, just every Scream movie in a row.
nice. Yeah,
Like it's
It's a good
just
way to do it.
it's such a good. But I mean, I was watching when they first came out,
yeah.
and I remember the first time I watched the first one,
Yeah,
dude. I
me
was like,
too.
just
Yeah.
all the jump
I was
scares.
young. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, that
It
was
terrifi- it
amazing.
terrified
That
me
was
as a kid,
amazing.
yeah.
I drove in high school. I couldn't find them anywhere on DVD, and I drove to Fry's Electronics in Phoenix to buy
Jeez.
the 3-pack, and
Nice.
it's in there.
nice.
But I bought the 3-pack box set to come back home and
Of
watch
the first
it.
three.
Of the
Nice.
first three.
Nice.
Yeah, because it was a while before we
That's a
got a fourth
trip
one.
for a movie. I like it.
Yeah,
I
dude,
like the
an hour and a
dedication.
half.
Yeah,
I was like, I really want to watch these movies, and no one I knew like owned them.
yeah,
And I was like, how did none of you own? I think I was looking for the third one.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I had seen them, but all my friends had like the first one.
Yeah.
Or the second, first and second one. No one had the third. And I was like, I need to find this movie. And I was like, I know, because back in the day, Fry's Electronics had every movie.
yeah.
Like it's the mall. Like it's like a Best Buy for just
For
electronics.
just electronics.
And it's but better than Best Buy.
yeah,
And Fry's, which cracks me up because the first time I went there, I was like 12. We went up to Phoenix to pick up a transmission that my dad bought, and on the way back, we stopped because he was building a new computer.
Okay.
So we stopped in and buy like a graphics card and whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm just,
yeah. Mesmerized.
and he was like, "You want to hang out for a while?" And I said, "Can we?" He's like, "Absolutely." So we just wandered
Yeah.
because he loved the place too,
Yeah.
and I'd never been there. So he
Your
was
dad's
like,
into all kinds of stuff. It's pretty cool.
yeah,
That's
he's
something that I've started to learn about your dad. The more
Yeah.
that I get to know him.
that's where I get all my
He's-
eclectic weirdness from.
He's just into stuff.
Yeah.
He just likes things. He likes
Yeah.
his stuff.
Yeah,
And
I
he
know.
knows where
It's-
everything's at.
it's a curse.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
That's what's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, you can't see it on the camera, but like we're in my shop, and like my
Yeah.
toolbox is organized. Now it's chaos in here right now because
Yeah.
I'm building a studio in my shop.
But it's still, you know where everything's at.
Yeah, but he doesn't have what I have. Like,
No.
I can tell you over the phone which drawer to find,
Yeah.
which tool you need.
Yeah. You've done it before.
He can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, all right, it's in this pile over here because I was using it with this. And you're like, what? Like, so I have to ask him for things. Like, I had to borrow his, I was like, his car dolly in something else like a year ago.
I'll write it
And
down.
so I get to his house. It's the middle of the day. And I'm like, hey, here I am. Like, where can I find all the things I needed
Yeah.
to borrow? And he was like, okay. So it should be in this shed. Go there, because he's got several sheds. So he's like, and they're like giant workshop sheds. So he's like, go in here. Now on your right, just past, let's see, what was I doing the other day? Okay, so just past these tools, there's this tool. Lift that tool up, and the thing you need should be right there. And I'm like,
How do you remember this?
what kind of like beautiful mind nonsense is going
It's like
on
Rain
right
Man.
now?
Yeah.
So none of it's in order. So you will never find it on your own.
Yeah.
But he knows where 90%, like there's some things that he's like, I haven't used it in forever. I don't remember where I
Where
left
it's
it.
at, yeah.
And then he has to go digging.
Yeah.
And those are always the weirdest things to do
Yeah.
with him, because you're walking all around his property from different place to different place.
When we went out there the last time to go pick up something for you, it was some framing stuff. I think it was for the weight rack.
Yeah. Oh no, that's when I framing stuff.
Yeah, it was like
It wasn't for the rack, because the power rack was all one kit. I think it's when I was still building the gym.
it might have been.
Like, it could be.
But we went out. It was fascinating to me that we got out there and he walked right to where it was.
Wait,
and-
was
and
this
flipped right
recently?
into it. It was the last time we went out there.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, it's when I was building the dumbbell rack. Okay,
Dumbbell
the
rack.
dumbbell rack. Yeah, okay, I'm with you now. Yeah.
And
So he's like,
he-
oh yeah, over here,
Yeah,
over here, over
right
here."
away.
It's like a
It blew
weird
my mind,
mad
yeah.
dash Easter
Yeah,
egg hunt.
Yeah.
Like, you're like,
Where-
okay,
when-
like you got a treasure map. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
if I was quarter inch angle, where would I be?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, we got to go over here for that. And you're like, oh, go
Dodge
over
all
here
the
for
sheep,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just nuts to watch him walk right to it and grab it like it was
Let's
nothing.
go. It's right here.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, you need more?
Yeah. Yeah. I needed like the 1-inch bar stock and then the 1.5-inch bar stock to build some weightlifting equipment. He's like, I was like, man, I just need to get like some 1.5-inch bar stock. And he was like, I got some.
Yeah.
And what you need? I was like, well, this is what I'm trying to build, trying to modify one of the pieces of equipment. And he was like, yeah, here you go. Doof, here's
Yeah,
an
right away.
8-foot stick of solid 1.25
It worked out.
or 1.5-inch
it
rod.
It fascinated me with like
His ability to
knows where
just
everything's
dart
at,
to
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
because
weird.
I've seen his property and like you would think
It's
that
full. Yeah, it's got stuff.
it's full. Yeah. And I know there's more room that he will make for stuff because
he doesn't have to. He just
yeah.
bought more acreage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did buy more acreage
So now he's gonna have to drive down the street
to go get more
to go
stuff.
get more stuff.
That big piece of equipment that helps people walk again. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
was
that
pretty
came from one of our jobs. That's for learning how to walk again. Yeah, this.
cool. It's such a strange thing to own,
Yeah,
but he's very proud of it.
yeah, and part of it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like so he brought it home hoping to get the parts to make it work again, so he can
Sell it.
sell it.
Yeah.
Like that's where I got my medical scale.
Okay.
Was from the same place that he picked up stuff.
The
That's
one
why
that's in here.
yeah, that's where all these came from too.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, my shop is full of these cabinets, and like that's where all that came from.
That's
when
all the
we
stuff
were-
in the house too, right?
Yep, that's where all this came from. Yeah, I mean, I've got like
Is
30.
that MDF? Is that what that is?
Some of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like $30,000 worth of cabinets,
Yeah.
and I'm not the only one who went up with some. I supplied 2 other people with a bunch of these,
Nice.
and then my dad supplied, I think, like 3 or 4 more people.
Wow.
It was an
You guys went all out.
entire hospital
Yeah.
of these went away.
Nice.
So every room that had these went out, and
Right
every
place, right
room,
time.
dude. Yeah. Well, the other, and it was during COVID. It was during the lock. We started that project before the lockdowns,
Okay.
and I worked all year on that job. So
Nice.
all of 2020, when the rest of the world was
Shut
doing
down.
nothing,
Yeah.
I was at that hospital.
I was working at the machining shop when the shutdown happened.
Yeah. So I mean, you were still doing stuff for most of the year.
Yeah.
Like December, right, is when you got let go. So like
Yeah.
you made it through the year.
I made it through the year. It wasn't until Biden got elected, and then they shut down a bunch of the military contracts.
Yep.
That I got canned.
Yep.
Yep.
Lost everything.
Lost
Yeah.
everything.
That's
It was a cool job. I liked it. It was fun. It was a good experience. It was fun to be there. It was a cool shop to work at. We did a lot of like different CNC stuff, all kinds of different companies.
well. That's when you built the part for the bike, right?
Yeah. And I built the crash bars for it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, I don't have access to stuff like that.
That was
I
the
wish.
one thing that I miss was having access to a whole welding
Yeah.
shop.
Yeah.
The-
Well,
the
and
tip of
well,
my
a whole
fingers.
fab shop,
A
not
whole
just a
fab
welding
shop, yeah,
shop.
whole fab
You're able
shop.
to fab
Yeah.
crash bars for bikes that never had crash bars.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. It was fun. I liked it.
Yeah, that's something I wish I would have been able to get into. Never had like an in. So everything I do is just on the fly, learning the hard way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my uncle's a machinist, but he lives in Texas, so none of that was able to
None of
like,
it correlates.
hey, how do
Yeah.
I do this? Because he would have no idea how to walk me through any of it
Yeah.
over the phone. And what's funny,
You've been getting more talented with your fabrication now with just your little welder that you got. When you
yeah,
put together the weight rack, it looks good. The table inside, those
Yeah,
welds are coming together.
yeah,
You can run a bead now.
yeah. Well, it's because I finally had a reason to start running big, thick beads.
Yeah.
Like before, it was all tack stuff. Everything I did was prefab that was like only meant to be temporary.
Okay.
It was like tink, 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 more to like build a substrate for something else
Yeah.
and then disassemble it.
Okay.
So I never really had a reason to sit there and run big beads until like the gym. I had to do all those beads on that. And for that came out okay. But then the first plate rack that I built,
Mhm.
I didn't know things that welders know.
Okay.
Like someone who gets paid to weld
Yeah.
would have been like, nah, dude, that's not how you do that. And I've since learned
Yeah.
the proper way to do some of those welds. And it's more about the prep cutting.
Yeah.
So
it's
like
a lot
you
of prep
don't
work.
you don't weld round pipe to a flat surface and just run fat beads down the sides.
No.
You notch the round thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
So that's when I went to rack those 45s that day and I was like, clink. I'm like, well, it held up for 2.5 years. I'm all right. Yeah, the table's fun, but epoxy is really fun.
Yeah. I
Like-
know you had fun with that.
That was awesome. Wow, I almost epoxied a table today.
Really?
Yeah, if we hadn't have gotten this out here,
Yeah.
I was gonna I already designed what I was gonna do with
Nice.
that other table I had in here. Yeah. So anyone who's
Do you
ever
wanna-
seen other
do you wanna
videos is different. one.
Epoxy podcast table?
I'm going to eventually.
Okay.
Not this one. And the other one was a little too small. Because
Okay.
like now I can seat 4 people. If this didn't have a leaf, I would do it.
Okay.
But because this has a leaf and it can get
Bigger.
exponentially bigger, I don't want to do that because trying to mate. I've seen people do it to where they take the whole leaf, put the whole thing together, epoxy the whole thing, and now it's just a static table.
Okay.
I don't want to do that to something I can make bigger and smaller.
Gotcha.
And I don't want to have seams because trying to I figured out how I could do the leaf and these and everything still close and open together.
Okay.
But now I've got a leaf that weighs twice as much because of the epoxy.
Yeah.
And the leaf will be sitting somewhere in storage, and if it falls, it could bust up the epoxy, and there's
Yeah.
no way to make it match.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is at some point I'll get the table that's gonna be like a more or less forever table, and pretty sure I'm gonna do the Arizona flag
Oh, that'd be cool.
in epoxy.
That'd be rad.
That's the thought right now, anyway.
That'd be cool.
It might change by that point.
I like it. That'd
But
be
if I finally get my big flag backdrop or
Yeah.
something, then I probably won't. Then I might not. But
Yeah.
I've been for like 2 days, kind of thinking up plans on how to do the pour and keep the sun rays and the star.
Yeah.
The star is the big thing of trying to figure out how to do that
Yeah.
without everything blending and
And
turning into
bleeding
just
together.
puddles.
Yeah.
So, because epoxy is kind of a
Can you put like dividers in between it and pull them out?
yeah, but you have to. It has to reach a certain level of cure
Okay.
before you can start pulling dividers.
Okay.
And that's the thing. It's like it'll be a very that table inside was time consuming,
Yeah.
but it was time consuming for two separate reasons.
Yeah.
That one bad mix screwed me
Yeah.
and set me behind like 4 days.
Yeah.
And then not knowing enough. So what I'm learning about life is when you don't know enough about something, it turns into a real pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So when
that applies to pretty much
yeah,
everything.
but this is the second time in 3 minutes it's come up that I don't know enough about something. So when I ordered all my epoxy, I didn't realize I didn't order deep pour
Okay.
until it was here. And because it took like 4 days for that stuff to get here, I didn't want to send it back, order deep pour, and
wait 4 more days.
So instead, I just did a bunch of layered thin pours. Like I made it work, but it increased the time by like it doubled the amount of time it took to build.
Then you had
table.
to cure each layer that you poured.
Yeah, but as I learned, I didn't have to like it came down to timing. So like if I came home and did a pour after work, I knew I was only going to be able to do one layer. So I did all the prep work because then if the layer before it is cured, then you have to rough all of it, mix all your stuff, and then I had to mix all my colors again and do all that fresh every time. Pour my layer, monitor it, get rid of the bubbles, make sure everything was still sealing, make sure everything was going right, and then lock up for the night. And then no stick. Oh, stupid.
Hopefully this thing isn't picking up me burping.
There we go. It probably is. These mics are really good. So, like every time I keep getting
burp. I'm burpy right now. The ribs are coming back.
Yeah. So,
delicious ribs, Mom. Thank you.
Yeah, they were awesome. So, with every pour, like I would do that thin pour, go away, and then at that point, I had to let that side cure. But if I had all day to do it, then I could pour my pour, so like an inch thick pour. The same process, had to rough up the other stuff. It had to have cured for 48 hours. Rough it up, mix all my colors, mix everything, lay the pour. And then as that was setting and as I'm monitoring it and killing bubbles and all that, I started mixing the next pour.
Okay.
And within a couple of hours, that stuff would become tacky. And it's not set, but it's set enough that you can pour more onto it because the heat has dissipated. So the thing I learned I knew, but it was like learning how to put all the pieces together and understand the whole concept. It emits so much heat because of the chemical reaction.
Okay.
If it's not meant for a deep pour, it superheats and it cooks off a bunch of the stuff and then it cracks and degrades. But if you do a thin pour with thin tabletop epoxy and let it start to slow down on the chemical reaction, everything cools off, and then you can lay another pour on it.
Okay.
And it won't superheat.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that with my first pour.
Gotcha.
My first pour, I didn't measure properly, was what it turned out to. I wound up pouring a little too thick. And that stuff got hot. So I had to bring in fans. I had to turn on the AC. Like I had to cool it quickly, which then affects how I was killing bubbles. Because how I was killing bubbles was with my heat gun.
Okay.
And I just, and popping all the bubbles. Well, now I'm introducing more heat, so I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I had to find other ways to kill the bubbles and keep the heat down. I mean, I salvaged it. The table's great. It is freaking solid. But
yeah, that's gonna last a lifetime.
Yeah, someone's gonna inherit that table. Yeah. And I broke part of it and fixed it. Like I love epoxy.
Yeah.
And now I'm always like, what can I do next? What can I do next? So a table is one I'm definitely gonna do.
That's cool.
It's just a matter of finding the table I'm going to do it too. But yeah, man, it was back to movies, I guess.
Back to movies?
Yeah, I'm all talked out of I don't have anything else to offer on epoxy.
Epoxy was fun, though. That was a lot of fun to watch you do, and it was cool to watch you get so, like, involved with something.
Dude, that was, what was that, like 2 months?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
I think it took me 2 months, like, start to finish.
Yeah.
Like, from building my mold and dealing with the wood. So I had, because that's cherry walnut from Texas. that I've had sitting here for 3 years. I had at the time been sitting here for almost 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to shape it, and the way it was cut, because my uncle cut down the tree and milled the tree. So that was something he did from start to finish
That's cool.
and brought the slabs. And initially I was going to build a bar. And then I was like, why the hell do I want a bar?
Yeah.
Like,
Where are you going to put it?
like, yeah, I was like, where the hell am I going to put a bar?
Yeah.
Why do I need a bar?
Yeah.
Like my friends drink, but they're not like, I don't need a bar. They're
Yeah.
not that kind of drinkers.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's the 14-year-old me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want a bar. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm past that.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to build a dining table.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, where the hell am I going to put this big ass dining table?
Yeah.
Because the slabs were, that one was, I had two of those that were a married section of the slab. So they were one cut on top of each other.
Okay.
So they were identical slab pieces. And I was like, well, they were like 7 feet.
Okay.
And then I've got like a 14-foot piece, which I was going to
wow.
cut, make the top out of
Okay.
those two pieces, like cut it in half, side by side them table. And then I was going to use the other pieces to build a bench.
Okay.
And I was like, well, where the hell am I going to put this giant table?
Yeah.
Like, it'd be perfect, but we already like, where am I supposed to
Where
put
are you going
this?
to put it? Yeah.
So, because the dimensions I wanted to make out of it that would have made the perfect table are slightly too big for the dining area.
Okay.
So I was like, it's a little oversized. Like, it'll be kind of hard to get in and around it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be heavy. I mean, it's already slabbed wood, now epoxy plus the frame.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a lot of weight.
yeah. So I was like, I don't want to. I mean, I got solid concrete floor. It could handle it, but it would just suck to bring it in and
Yeah.
assemble it and do all that. And I was like, I don't want to do that.
And then moving around too would be tough.
Yeah. So I just sat on it for a few years. I was like, well, I'll come up with something. And then one day I was like, coffee table. Perfect. Like, but then the way the one cut side is, I love the live edge on
Mhm.
all of it, but my uncle cut it at a weird angle. And I don't know why. I don't know if he was cutting out a knot or what, but it was like a really aggressive, like 30-degree angle on the one end.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Which is why it's not square.
Okay.
Because that piece is where the branch started coming out.
Okay.
So I wanted to keep that. Well, if I cut it straight, I would lose most of that. So I just narrowed that angle
Okay.
and then did a very light match on the other end.
Okay.
I didn't fully match it, so it'd be laying in there like this if you're looking down on it. But I did bring it in a little bit.
Okay.
And then like beveled it a little bit. Like I worked it the best I could to still keep the character I wanted in it.
Yeah.
Like that section I filled with gold,
Yeah.
I wanted all of that there. And if I would have cut it straight, I'd have lost all of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there's no point. So I started seeing it, brought it in here, started working it, and then I spent like a day building the jig, like deciding how big it was, how heavy it was going to be, how thick it was going to be.
Mhm.
I wish he would have ran it to the mill and made it like 3/4 of an inch thinner.
Okay.
But I'm like, I don't have access to a mill. Like, I don't even, like, I know there's, I think 3 mills in the greater Tucson area. I could only find one, and I've been to the yard, and I tried buying lumber from him a few years
Okay.
before, and I showed up, and he was like, hey, we're closing, we'll be back in a week, and then I just never went back.
Okay.
But I thought about taking it to him, and I was like, I don't want to pay some dude
To cut it.
to
Yeah.
cut it. So I was like, screw it. It's going to be a really thick coffee table. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. So it's heavy,
It is heavy.
but it's going to last forever.
Yeah.
And then the steel
It came
frame
together
I
really
built
well.
for
You did a
it,
great job on it. by
I
the way.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
That was a labor of love.
Yeah, it
Like,
was.
that was something I was like, I'm going to see this every day. I want it to look awesome every time I see it.
Yeah.
Like, if no one else likes what I did, that's fine with me.
I still wish the
like
lights would have gone into it.
it. They will.
It's still a possibility.
They will. I mean, I have the lights.
Yeah.
The problem is I need to bring it back out here and set up all my routing jig equipment and route the bottom of it. It just was a matter of I want it in the house. I wanted it in the house for something or what kind of party or whatever we were doing. I was like, I want it in the house.
Yeah.
And then just other projects came along and I got busy at work
Yeah.
and then just haven't done it. but I have the lights. The lights are going to go in it.
Very cool.
But I didn't want to do like other people do and actually pour the lights in it, because then when they fail,
You're
now you've
stuck with it.
abandoned
Yeah.
lights. So I was gonna hollow out
Route
channels
'em
under
underneath
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's a
put
smart
'em in.
idea. It'll look really cool.
I think so,
think so.
especially with all the colors. Because I
Yeah.
also changed the plan. I'll have to upload pictures of it with this too, which
Yeah, that would be
so
cool.
so people can see the table. I've got video of me doing it. The problem is GoPro doesn't like these LED lights. So every time I come in here with my GoPro to record it, because I didn't have like a proper camera, I
Yeah.
just had the
The
my
GoPro.
motorcycle camera.
Yeah.
All the lights would make the shutter flicker.
Ah.
So you'd be watching it, and it'd have these black lines that would strobe
Fluttering
up and
through it,
down.
yeah.
And it. So I have video. It's just not great
It's not
quality.
great video, yeah.
So I'd have to turn off all the lights, and then just use my GoPro light, because I have the light that goes on top, and I'd GoPro light it to try to give the best view of the table. So I do have some fun video of it. I'll have to dig out those SD cards
Yeah.
and upload the video. It was fun to do.
Yeah.
I was really, and I want to do another one, which is why I've still got all my equipment right here.
Yeah.
Like at some point I'll get around to making another one. It's just a matter of what. So I think I'm going to do the end table on my side of the couch. I think I'm going to do that. I just haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet,
Gotcha.
how I want it to look.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be like a statement. Like when people see it, they go, dude, that's rad.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about doing the Arizona table. I'm like, dude, that'd be
The
really
Arizona
fun.
table would be really cool.
It'd be really cool.
That'd be really cool to have on camera too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, look at that. Like there's a lot of the surfaces on here.
Yeah.
Imagine having a big
Arizona flag. Yeah.
So I think
Tucson, Arizona. Yeah.
Tucson, Arizona. Yeah. So
Great show. Thank you, by the way, for giving. That has been, since I've known you, that's been my favorite recommendation that you've given me. Because I've had multiple people throughout my life, or at least in the last few years since that show's been out, have tried to get me to watch it, and I've avoided it with just
didn't care.
Just didn't care. I would avoid it because I was like, it's a vampire show. It's gonna suck. I'm not gonna like it.
I don't like Twilight.
I don't like Twilight.
I love that they mock Twilight in the show.
Yes, so good, so good. And I avoided it for a really long time, and then when you recommended it, I gave it a shot, and I have not regretted it since. I've probably watched through it about 5 times, all the way through.
I think that's
And
probably.
I will continue to watch it because it's an amazing show. We're talking about What We Do in the Shadows, which is an amazing.
Well, it's what
Hulu
it's
show.
what my podcast is named after.
Yeah.
So like I'm a big fan.
It's a great show. It's absolutely great. Nandor the Relentless. You got Laszlo. Nadia.
So when we were at Comic-Con, I'll have to upload this photo.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah, you told me about them. Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
That's so good with the USA jersey on.
Nandor looked good. Like he
does
looked good.
He
as
looks
Nandor.
like Nandor. Yeah, that's pretty great, man. That's awesome. That's the best. Yeah, I'm not surprised that you took a picture with them. But yeah,
He's the only one I took a picture. Like
Show's
they're
great.
the only ones I took a picture with. I've got pictures of your mom with Stay Puffed, and there were some other people. With Stay Puft, Marshmallow Man was like pretty damn immediate.
okay,
Of Smokey the Bear.
nice.
So there was some park rangers with Smokey the Bear. She's like, I need to get my picture of Smokey. Hold on one second. We're we're coming up on time. So I'm gonna stop this one and we're gonna pick up with a part 2. See you in a minute.